So for those of you that have been watching the channel for a little while, you'll know that Typhlosion's one of my favorite decks of this year, and probably one of my favorite decks I've played in a very, very long time. It's the deck that I took to a lot of different challenges and cups and performed really well with over the season. So I wanted to revisit it because it didn't get a lot of new cards in the recent set. We're actually not playing any new cards, but it got a lot better in the sense of its place in the meta. Really, the main thing that helped this is Psyduck, and just an improved Dragapult matchup really matters because Dragapult was one of your worst matchups along with Guardy, and Guardy is still our worst matchup, but thankfully Guardy's just not as prevalent anymore, and now that it's switched to the Jellicent build, it's actually not as bad as it used to be because we are able to deal with the Jellicent far more effectively than we are like repeated Screamtails and things like that, though obviously that's still a bit of an issue. The decks, just the way they play, are a little bit easier, so we do have Shaymin to help deal with the Screamtail. But now that they're like more heavy Jellicent wise, we're actually a little bit better. And the Absolbox matchup is pretty good for us. And then on top of that, one of the things that make this deck really good in the meta right now is that Gholdengo is everywhere. And we have a pretty much unlosable matchup into Gholdengo, and so because of that, that really also helps us in the meta right now. And so Typhlosion kind of gets to squeak back in as this weird sleeper pick that's really good, and so this is the build I'm running to kind of take advantage of that. We run 2 Victini because it pushes our damage numbers up by 20 if we have both on the field thanks to its Victory Cheer ability, and that's going to be really important because that helps us knock out the Charizard EX at 330. And hitting that 330 number is really important, and also just helps us climb a little bit easier. We are playing 1 copy of Gravity Mountain. Gravity Mountain's a little less important than it used to be, but it's still very, very good, so I highly recommend keeping 1 in there. We're playing 2 copies of Brave Bangle as well as 1 copy of Kieran. Kieran's in the deck to not only give us a switch option, but also to help us deal with Mega Lopunny, since we don't get the bonuses from Grav Mountain, and so hitting the 330 without Grav Mountain, because it's not a stage 2, can be a little bit awkward. It's like we need Typhlosion, we need Brave Bangle, we need double Victini. It's just like we need a lot of pieces, and so sometimes it's easier just to be like, well, Kieran Bangle, good enough. Kieran Victini is good enough. Like, you know, work our magic and things like that. But yeah, that's just about it for the list. It's pretty straightforward. It's really good. We're playing a copy of Town Store. This is just really to help us find our tools. Town Store is really, really good in this deck. You could consider bumping this to 2, but I like it at 1. And then we're playing 2 TM Evo because we are trying to get into Pidgeot. Pidgeot's super, super strong. You don't always need it. Typhlosion can actually operate as just kind of this rogue 1-prizer that it just operates on its own, like no engine. But if you can get into Pidgeot, it works out really well because Pidgeot's just a really broken card and we got to use it before it rotates. But with that said, that's going to be it for this little breakdown section. And before we move on, I just want to give a special shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys so much for that additional level of support. It really does go a long way. It means a lot. Thank you guys so much for that. As for everybody else, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. We've been getting a couple people not getting notified of like when we stream and things like that, so don't forget to hit the bell and stuff like that. And outside of that, yeah, final announcement, just let me know what cards you want to see covered in upcoming videos, along with like if you have a deck list you want me to try or anything like that. You can drop it in the community Discord or in the comment section and I will get to it. I'm finishing my semester of grad school this week, so I'm gonna have a lot more time on my hands for like about a month. Even though it is holiday season, I'll be able to get to a lot more, so I'm really excited to kind of get a lot more content out for you guys and things like that. But yeah, that's just about it, and I'll see you guys all in game number 1 in a second. Peace. Alright, we're into the game and we won the coin flip, so we're going to be going second because you always prefer to go second with this deck. We are going to put a Cyndaquil here, a Pidgey here, in case we can get into Town Store, like a TM Evo or something like that. We'll get a lot of value out of our adventure. And depending on the matchup, if we don't need Shaymin, we can just Vessel the Shaymin away, get ourselves some energy, and then just go like triple Cyndaquil if they're available. We see Tropagos. I'm not sure yet what we're up against. It could be the new Noctowl Zard build. If that's the case, honestly, that's kind of better for us, because we only need 3 adventure like to knock out Tropagos, so it's like if one's prized, it doesn't mean as much. Alright, so it is that build, so that's nice. It means we only really have to worry about knocking out like one Charizard EX. We'll have boss targets that we can KO other stuff with, whether it's the Tropicos or whether it's the Pidgeot, so that's kind of going to be our line. We'll see. They have an energy on. They'll be able to swing next turn, so we'd really love a TM Evo here. Unfortunately, we get Lana's aid. That doesn't really help us all that much, but we are going to be able to get ourselves some energy here. We'll go Adventure. We get ourselves 2 and 1, so a little bit of a weak turn. Gonna go energy to this one. Pass. We'll be able to go Quilava, grab ourselves another adventure. Depending on what we get, honestly, what we might have to do is go Ultra Ball, away the adventure, and like an energy, find ourselves, potentially find ourselves Fez, and kind of go from there. And like see what we're able to do. Noctowl comes out. They get their bonus from the Jewel Seeker, getting themselves any 2 trainers, which is such a powerful ability. They have Rare Candy Dawn, so that's going to be a Rare Candy Pidgeot into Rare Candy Charizard. Very, very powerful start. This deck is very, very strong. Gets a lot of value out of Dawn, which is a card I thought was going to be good in this deck, but unfortunately it just like doesn't really work out the way that it, like on paper it should be really good, but because it's kind of functions like a secondary, like on paper it functions like a secondary adventure, where like it helps you find like your pieces. But in practice, it's like never actually very good. They quick search. It would not surprise me to see like I said, a Rare Candy Dust Noir, or not Rare Candy Dust Noir. Well, no, because the skull just came down. It would be Rare Candy Charizard here. But it looks like they searched Buddy Poffin instead, maybe for a second Charmander. And a Charmander and a Hoot Hoot, maybe? Yep. So that's what comes out. That makes sense. Then they swing, KO the Cyndaquil. We'll place our Cyndaquil with the energy in the active because we can always retreat it out if we need to do so. And honestly, retreating it out into the Call for Family might not be a terrible idea. We get Grave Mountain. I do want to save that, though, and I don't get value out of this. They just get rid of these and kind of call it a day from there. We're going to evolve here to the bench just to help keep this a little bit safer. We'll go Bonded by the Journey. We'll check. We are missing 1. That's okay. We do have our Pidgeotto. We do have our Fez. I think the main thing we would hope for here off this is potentially... I guess we potentially hope for like Iono maybe, just to like get us more to work with. Unfortunately we don't find really any, well actually I don't really want to do this, but I think these are the cards to get rid of that keep value for me. I can go Rare Candy Pidgeot. Rare Candy Pidgeot, use that, find myself Iono. Because I need to shuffle into something a little bit better. Not exactly. Not exactly better, but it will work. We're going to Buddy Poffin, and we're going to grab Psyduck and a Pidgey. And I'm going to retreat this out. bring that in, and then go energy back onto the Quilava, and Bonded by the Journey to add Ethans to my hand. That'll be my third Ethans, and then what the play will be on this next turn is that I can go Adventure away, Pidgeot away, whatever else I draw, with the Secret Box, get myself Ticket, use Ticket to find my other Adventure, use Quilava to go Bonded, pull that Ethans out of the deck, and then use that to place my Typhlosions. Because I should have access to 2 at least. Unless they end up prized, which would be really tragic. They go Noctowl. We could even potentially, once we get rid of that, go for like pulling Lana's aid out. Using Lana's aid to like re-grab Cyndaquil, Typhlosion. Replacing those might actually be a good play for us. Yeah, we just grab like an Ultra Ball or something out of the prizes. They go Boss Rare Candy. We could see a play where they go in and just boss the Fez, put themselves to 3. And if that's the case, it's going to be a little bit hard to climb the Zard. But it will be doable. Especially off the Secret Box. Because we will be able to get our Brave Bangle and the Grav Mountain that we didn't discard earlier. Two energy on the turtle already. 2 energy on to the Zard. It's also possible they go Nest Ball, Klefki. Okay, good play, good play, good play. They take 2 here, go down to 3. I knock this out. Then they go Klefki to the active, pop, go down to 1. Okay. Makes sense. So we'll get rid of these. Grab myself Ticket. This. And I could go Boss's Orders here. Look to KO Zard. But does that change my situation? Not really. I could boss Klefki. That doesn't... I need to take 2 prizes on this turn. I would really like to boss Pidgeot. But I think I have to rely on, like, getting into Counter Catcher. Is, like, more the angle that I have to go with here. Alright, we go Redeemable. We get Adventure. We'll go Bonded real quick just to search our deck. Alright. Get ourselves... I think we have to play the Adventure. Do I need the energy? Not on this turn. I think I just need to get another Cyndaquil out. And then the question goes, what's my optimal play from here? Wait, there was Iono. Did it like bug out? Why did I not see the Iono as an option earlier? Did I just like miss it? Oh, it's back in my deck from the ticket. Got it. Alright, well, that would have changed things a little bit, but that's still okay. I'm going to put these back in the deck. And then from here, the play becomes place this, and then we will take the knockout here. Go to 4. Unfortunately, it might just be a little too slow. Losing the counter catcher on the ticket is a little rough. Because they're going to go Dusk here, knock out this. That puts them to 2. Then they knock out Typhlosion. That puts them to 1. Even if I respond on the Zard, they make another Zard on this turn, and then we lose. Unless they don't make Zard on this turn. They did already use 2 Rare Candy. They could have them prize potentially, but I highly, highly doubt it. I think the outcome here is that they just make Zard and we lose. There's a Dusclops. Curse Blast comes out onto the Pidgey, like I said. Them being able to boss around that earlier was really good for them. They have Quick Search available and Supporter for turn. Because otherwise we Quick Search, go Iono, put them to 1, KO the Zard, and then we're chilling. There's another Charmander. That's actually fine. This is for Fez. They can't Fez because of Klefki. So, bad move on their part. So they don't have it, actually. So this could end up really good for us. The main issue is that we need to hit energy. We probably should have grabbed one on the last turn. Because if this gets knocked out, we bring Pidgeot to the active. We KO Zard. They could just not have another reasonable attacker. We burn everything out of our hand that we can. The problem is that if we whiff energy, we just lose, so... That's a real issue. Hopefully we just top deck 1 and that solves all our problems. Super Rod comes in. That's the other thing, too. On the Rare Candy Zard, I actually don't think they have the energy. There's 2 here. There's 2 here. They probably only play 5. So they couldn't go Rare Candy Zard, Accelerate Energy. Now they can because they have Super Rod. But out of the 3 cards in hand, no Quick Search. I think we're actually fine. They choose to pass. That's actually even better for me. That makes things way less stressful. So we can go Quilava here. Because that gives us a turn now to be up. And it requires... They have no... Yeah, they won't have a Briar play. We pull Zard to the active, go Grave Mountain. See what they discard. Because Iono doesn't give us the best value now. Klefki doesn't really do anything. We have KO. Don't need this. Lillie doesn't do anything for us. We get KO here. I guess we could... They'll be on 4, 5, 6, 7 Quick Search. I guess we could just Iono. But again, I don't really feel like it does anything for it. Do we just boss the Pidgeot? Probably not, right? I think we just guarantee ourselves an energy no matter what here. Do we need anything from discard? Does Lana's Aid help us? Not really. I think we just guarantee energy because we don't need anything but boss on next turn. So we just place this, go Lilies. I don't think there's a way for them to win on the next turn. Like, pretty much regardless of what happens. And then we just grab Victini for extra damage. And swing. Them whiffing Charizard there, I think, wins us the game. Alright, there's our Pidgeotto, Town Store. Because on the last turn, if they attack with Charizard, which I still think they should have done, passing on Klefki was not the right play. Just because right now they'd be on 1. And I guess we would have still... I guess the play was to avoid a potential Iono on 1. But even still, like, Iono on 1 with Fez and Pidgeot is, like, far better. I guess they could go... Yeah, their way to win at this point is Rare Candy, Charizard, Boss onto Pidgeotto. And I guess I should have gone Iono to put them to 2, just to limit that potential. But it's a situation where it's like they either have it or they don't, right? Like there's not much more I could have done. Because if they don't have it, then Ionoing them just puts them 2 cards deeper to it. And if they do have it, then, you know, who's to say? I guess the only... yeah, I guess what I could have done is still Iono'd, because then potentially the energy that they super rotted back into the deck ends up in their hand, which means they can't accelerate to the Charizard if both energy end up here. But my feeling of, like, at this point... Oh, they have Prime Catcher. I did not know that was the A-spec of choice, gonna be honest. But that tells me they definitely don't have it, because they're just hoping that I don't have an energy to retreat this. But yeah, my theory is, like, they already used 2 rare candies. I assume they play 4. Alright, yeah, we just retreat this out. KO that. So, kind of big. Couple misplays across the board for both of us, but that was very interesting. Had I known... Had I prize checked correctly and known there was an Iono in my prizes, when I went for the ticket... I could have Iono'd earlier, and that would have made a really big difference for, like, saving my quick search, and things like that. So, definitely didn't play the secret box correctly. That sequencing was bad for me. But I think we played most of the rest of the game pretty well. So, worked out. Also, this build, this is back to, like, my point. This will be my final point before we jump into game 2. This kind of goes into the point of, like, Typhlosion being a little bit better in the meta right now. Is, like, this build works out a little better for me to go up against than traditional Charizard. Because it does have, like... I have multiple EXs to knock out as I damage ramp, rather than needing to dump all my adventures early. But, alright, cool. That's game number 1. We'll jump into game number 2 in a second. I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 2. Our opponent's going to be going first. We open in... honestly, not great. Ooh. But our opponent's... Ooh! Sweet! Our opponent's going to mulligan, which gives us a little bit more cards to work with, as well as the fact that we're up against Venusaur, and that's awesome. We get an energy. We don't really need that, but hey, we're 1 card deeper, right? This should be, unless we brick unimaginably hard, this should be kind of an unlosable matchup for us, honestly. which is pretty good. Pretty exciting on that front. We're going to be taking 2-hit KOs. Or sorry, we're going to be taking 1-hit KOs for 3 prizes. Which is kind of crazy. Bug catching set, gets them an energy. They Ultra Ball. This could be for a Fez potentially. We see Ivysaur and a Bulbasaur go to discard for another Teal Mask. Teal Mask goes for the Teal Dance right after this. Gets themselves +1 card off the grass energy they found earlier from the bug catching set. They didn't draw anything at least currently playable, so it comes to us. We get another Cyndaquil. Not exactly what I'm hoping for, if I'm being completely honest. I definitely don't need Victini in this matchup. So what I think I'm going to do here is actually just pass. Bring Shaymin in. I actually am going to play Victini just to sack it later, in case I have to. And then what I'll do is I'll pass from here. I'm not going to need Brave Bangle because we one-shot everything anyway. So the play on the next turn is literally just Ultra Ball away, Brave Bangle, whatever else I draw, unless it's super important. Use that to grab myself a copy of Adventure, and then use Adventure to find my other Cyndaquils and my Quilava. Use Quilava to Adventure again, go Earthen Vessel, get rid of that, and then I'm chilling. Then I have everything in the discard that I'll need to get all the KOs I'm going to need. They do find themselves a Lillies. That's pretty good. And there's a Chikorita hitting the board. And this is a matchup where I don't even bother to like put Pidgeot out or anything like that. If they get into Meganium on this turn and they start swinging, they can have the Shaymin. I'm not really that worried about it. They can have the Victini. I just need to set up 4 Cyndaquils and just start swinging. The only thing that could go bad for me here is if I don't have access to Typhlosions. Or if every one of my adventures is prized or something like that. Like, a lot of bad would have to happen for us to lose here. They are playing the Wo-Chan EX though, that's pretty cool. This is a really good card in this deck. Alright, they are beginning to swing, which is fine. This is why we played the Victini down. We kind of anticipated them knocking out the Shaymin. We get another one. I'm honestly fine playing that, getting rid of this and this. I'm not going to need them. Finding myself the Quilava. Quilava down. Alright, there's 3 Adventure. That's more than enough. We Adventure for this, this, and this. Place this down, place this down, place this down. Then we go Bonded by the Journey again. Get the next one out. Go Earthen Vessel, discard that, grab 2 energy so we don't end up drawing them. And then we'll go energy down here, pass, and we are kind of set from, like, we're pretty much set for the rest of the game. Because they knock out Victini here, we bring in Quilava, we go Bonded by the Journey, search out our Adventure, use Adventure to find ourselves Typhlosion, Quilava, Typhlosion, or, yeah. And then from there, we just swing over and over again. And it just comes down to being able to find, like, Super Rod. Or getting our other Adventure out of the discard pile, or out of the prize cards. Because we're going to take 2 here, tying it up, and just look for, like, a boss onto Mega Venusaur or something. TM Evo, not useful. Under normal circumstances, this game would be kind of scary. The question is, do we want an energy? No. No, we don't. Because we'll always find another one, and we already have one in hand, so that's fine. And then we have our Quilava in case anything were to happen. We go energy down here. Then we Buddy Blast for 460 because we're hitting for weakness. We even up the prize trade, where we get our other adventure, so we're super solid. From here, it's literally just 2 more attacks, unless they put up a 1-prizer, and, like, if they put up Meganium, that's fine. Like, we just KO that and move on with our day. We do see a Pidgeot, or a Pidgey in our hand, rather, which is fine. That's just going to be discard fodder. We have Adventure. I'm honestly fine holding onto the Adventure, though, until more stuff starts to, like, get KO'd, so that way we can go, like, Super Rod and then Adventure it all back out. As of right now, if they can't make Meganium, they can't even attack. Okay, there is the Meganium, so they will be able to attack us. Super Rod comes out. I don't think... Do they even have the damage to KO us, though? I don't know the math. And I'm not bothering to count it. They either will or they won't. Oh, alright, well... with the Max Rod coming in, they definitely do. But that's okay. They KO Typhlosion here. We bring in our next one, we KO that, and then honestly we can just go Adventure, find ourselves another Typhlosion, and then we just swing on whatever we want. So, pretty one-sided matchup, but that's the power of Typhlosion, baby. We're Buddy blasting. Also, game 1 went kind of long, so it's kind of nice that game 2 is going quick. Keep the video in algorithmically friendly zones, right? That's the professional YouTuber thing to do. Because that's totally what I am, right? Absolute professional YouTuber. What is this? Reveal up to 2 Pokemon in your hand, put them into your deck, and if you do, search your deck for up to that many Pokemon. Reveal them, put them in your hand. Oh, that's actually not bad. Cause yeah, I mean, in a deck like this with the forest, it's not horrible, actually. I kind of like that card. It's really smart. How good is it though? I don't know. Well, no, it's good because you can get rid of like the Bayleaf and a Chikorita or something. Yeah, actually, that is really good. No, I take that back. All right, we go energy down. We swing for 580. Absolutely cooking them. Grab ourselves 2 more prizes. Dude, we have not found a single, like, actually usable card this whole game, and it just hasn't mattered. Like, everything we found has been so bad. All our prizes are all things that are, like, completely worthless to us. Honestly, going Iono is totally chill. Please draw me into something. You know? That's fine. I'll take an Iono to go 2 cards deeper into my deck. Not that it really matters at this point. There's a Bayleaf. They're gonna swing on my Typhlosion. Get a little jungle dump action. Your jungle dump has nothing on my Buddy Blast. So anyway, I'm just going to play it to see what I get. Do I find a usable card? Hey. Hype. So anyway, I started blasting. But I don't see so good, so I missed. Chill. Hey, there's our Pidgeotto. Alright, well, that's game number 2. We'll jump into the breakdown in a second, and I'll see you guys there. Shout out Typhlosion, making it easy. Like I said, the jungle dump has nothing on our Buddy Blast. But alright, I'll see you guys in the breakdown in a second. Peace. When doing the breakdown for Typhlosion, I feel like this deck is in a really interesting position because when it works, it's like super, super good, and then some matchups kind of feel bad. in a weird way. So to begin the discussion, I want to say that the power for this deck, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5. You can hit really high damage numbers, but sometimes it can be a little bit awkward to hit them. Like we talked about earlier in the video, but like Mega Lopunny is a little bit annoying to hit because of the fact that you are kind of stuck in this weird situation where like you need Kieran or you need like double Victini plus Belt plus like other stuff to hit the 330 on a you know, on a non-stage 2, and that can be kind of weird with some other megas like Lucario, for example, and things like that, or like a Mega Gardevoir. So things like that can be a little bit awkward, but you can still hit really high damage numbers pretty consistently, and being a 1-prizer does make it pretty good. Going into consistency, I'm going to give this deck a 3.5 out of 5. This is mainly due to the fact that, and you could give this a 4, but the main regards to it is like the fact that you are relying on TM Evo. You don't really get a lot of like onboard draw outside of your Pidgeot, which if that gets taken out, that's like kind of upsetting, as well as like getting into it all the time isn't super consistent. But the deck operates in a really consistent way where you are able to get to your Typhlosions pretty easily and things like that. So it's kind of weird placement for it, but it is pretty good. Going into the matchups, I feel like that's where this deck kind of excels right now. Your Goldango matchup is an auto win. Your Absolbox matchup is kind of an auto win as well, as long as you can play the board correctly. Your Pult matchup got a ton easier thanks to Psyduck. Your other matchups, like as a whole, just became really, really good. And that's what's really excelled this deck. And then also like Grimmsnarl isn't as like popular or common anymore, so you don't really have to worry about that. The new build of Charizard is way easier to deal with than the old build of Charizard, so that also works out for you really well. Decks like Ceruledge you just beat. Same with like Raging Bolt and stuff like that. So your place in the meta is actually really good. It's just like you lose to a lot more like random rogue decks. But even your matchup against like Alakazam isn't even that bad. But yeah, that's going to be it for the breakdown. Overall, I'm going to give this deck a 4 out of 5. I think it's actually in a really good position right now and can actually win more than I think people are giving it credit for. But with that said, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.